Shugsep Nunnery is situated an hour outside Lhasa on a juniper-covered hillside, which was the site of one of the oldest monastic centers in Tibet. When the communist Chinese took over Tibet, the nuns were forced out of the nunnery and it was completely destroyed. As soon as restrictions on religious practice in Tibet were lifted in the 1980s, the few remaining nuns returned and started rebuilding the nunnery. Soon, however, the authorities cracked down again and they faced constant harassment from the Chinese. As a result, many of the Shugsep nuns participated in the 1987 uprising in Lhasa. Most were imprisoned and severely tortured. When they were released, they were barred from the nunnery and sent back to their villages, where they were under the constant surveillance of the Chinese police. Therefore, many nuns escaped to India through Nepal. In 1991, the first group of around 20 Shugsep nuns arrived in Dharamsala and approached the Tibetan Women's Association for help. They, under the Tibetan Nuns Project, which had recently been founded by the Tibetan Women's Association, looked after these nuns and bought and moved them into a house called Gambirganj, which was the best house nuns in Dharamsala had at that time. Since then, many more nuns from Shugsep have left their country in search of freedom, safety, and better opportunities to study in India. Shugsep traditionally follows the mineraling lineage with slight variations in rituals. The main practice is the heart's drop, the essence of Dzogchen or the great completion, following Longchenpa's heart's drop text. One of the unique practices is Che, ego-severing rite, a Nyingma practice which descended from Majik Labdun, the greatest female practitioner who lived in the 11th century and was continued by Shugsep Jetsun, who lived between the mid-19th and the mid-20th century. In the early years, the Tibetan Nuns Project worked hard to establish the regular 9-year study program developed at Nyingma Institute of Namdurling in Balukupe. After being personally approached by Rinchen Kando, His Eminence Pema Norbu Rinpoche, head of Namdurling, very kindly agreed to send teachers to Shugsep Nunnery. In India, the nuns' education begins with 2 years of preliminary studies, followed by 4 years of Madhyamika, and then 2 years studying Prajnaparamita. Years 7, 8, and 9 are spent studying the inner and outer tantras. In 2003, the top-level Shugsep nuns were the first nuns in the Nyingma tradition to complete the 9-year course. Since then, many more have graduated. In addition to their philosophical studies, the nuns studied Tibetan for 9 years and English for 6 years. Some nuns choose to meditate instead of engaging in scholarly studies. A group are presently undertaking the 3-year meditational retreat in Nepal. Over the years, nuns continued to leave Tibet and came to join the nunnery in Dharamsala. This put the buildings at Gambirganj under great strain, while the condition of the houses themselves steadily deteriorated due to invasive damp. Nuns were packed into every small corner, even under the staircase, the dampness of the building causing considerable health problems. When regular repairs and improvements failed to resolve the condition of the existing buildings, a plan was conceived to rebuild on the same site. This proved impossible after the road was destroyed by monsoon rains. Consequently, it was decided to find a new piece of land on which to construct a nunnery for the Shugsep nuns.
당가서 이게 지단다 강바 지금 야침바요 말에 네 강바에서 닝바 시제다 이게 대히런가 지금 증강다 진짜 믹스케요 말에 단선다에서 도와난다 아니 기겐가 샤다 진짜 수시다 진짜 저 야튼 진짜 시시 지단 지금 롭종데 대야가 막 기겐 강에다 아니 진짜 롭종 코란다 아니 지금 대사다 지카레다 지수다 대사디스 강에다 오면시된 롭종 코란 롭종 시야게 기겐 롭종 쟁이게 기겐다 롭종 시야다 아니 지금 대소강이 개개 중요 말이라 다 이게 스코란 강바티서 춘주시 닝바송다 즉 추다 된다요 아니 된데 이제 강바 찍는 안에 즉 예수 그리스도인데 대야다 어딘데 시시다 지금 롭종 즉 그랬다 지금 바카고 숨버라지다 지금 된데스다 요 말이 이날로 그러나 진짜에서 달로진에서 그러나 shasan takta lolo takta rodege.
In due course, the Tibetan Nuns project purchased a 4-acre plot near the village of Sudir below Lower Dharamsala and supervised the planning and construction of a new nunnery. This is a beautiful site set in farmland, backed up against protected forests with extensive views both over the valley and up towards the mountain peaks. Construction started in January 2006, and by the end of 2007, the first phase was complete, and in May 2008, the nuns were able to move in. Before they moved in, a 10-day series of rituals were performed by a tulku along with 10 monks from Dorjita Monastery in Shimla. 2 main pujas, Dupsha and Shige Wangda, a 4-deity fire ritual were performed. Thereafter, the nuns were able to establish themselves in their new clean and airy rooms before the monsoon set in. Although the construction is still going on around them, the nuns are very happy to have this comfortable new facility. The Tibetan Nuns project and nuns are extremely grateful to all our friends who have contributed with great kindness and generosity to enable them to live in this wonderful place without having to worry about the heavy monsoon rains anymore. Our deepest appreciation goes to Mrs. Betsy Gordon and to all those who have made this possible for the nuns of Shugsep Nunnery.